In this video, I'm going to walk through the entire Shotgun process using Shotgun to manage a production. So first of all, I'm going to look at it from a manager's perspective, where we're starting the project from scratch. We're bootstrapping it, starting with the bare templates. And then once we cover that, I'll get into the essential concepts, how to make assignments and set due dates, look at the Gantt charts, things of that nature. Once that's all done, we'll shift to the artist perspective and see how they will see their assignments, etc., perform work and submit versions for review. And then I'll go back to the manager's perspective and see how they're going to be reviewing the work for the artist. So, first of all, in order to bootstrap the project, the first place to start is going to be right at your on the shared network drive, which should be mapped to letter M. That's very important for the WM Store Data OneDrive. So there's going to be a folder called Magic Shotgun. So here's an essential concept. All production files should be in these folders for the respective project. Shotgun will be managing some of them, but some of them do not have Shotgun integration. For example, if you're working on the screenplay or something in After Effects or Premiere or ZBrush, um, it'll be on the individual artist to make sure they're putting their files in the right place using the right naming conventions. But some files do have Shotgun integration, such as Maya files and Photoshop files. So in order to get started, for this demo, I'm going to be focusing on this demo film 2019. And it'll be the same inside of any project. You'll see that they have the same structure. So if I go into demo film and I go into the admin folder, I'm going to see two spreadsheets. So the first one is well, they're both very important, but this is the first one that needs to be filled out. This spreadsheet is going to create a list of all the users that are going to be using the Shotgun to access the particular project. So you just put in the name, the login, and then the email. And then you'll set the permissions group to either manager or artist. Manager is going to have the ability to flip status to any status, make assignments, and set start and end dates. Whereas an artist is going to have more limited permissions, where they're only going to be able to set statuses on tasks that they have been assigned. And they could only go up to review, they can't set it to final. So it has more restrictions. So let's say this person is an artist, and then we're going to set it to project. So I didn't put the demo films here, but of course pick your respective project. Um, One thing you can do is, if these things are going to be the same for quite a few rows, you can just drag them down like this, and that should be fine. Certainly, the project should be consistent for all of them. So these two accounts should be the same as the ones that you would use to log into a computer at MDC, so that it has the same kind of user experience, and they don't need to remember a whole new login and passwords and all that. So once this spreadsheet is populated, you guys will notify me. I'll go ahead and import all of these accounts into Shotgun. What Shotgun is going to do is it's going to create the accounts, but then it's going to send an email to all of these emails asking people to sign in and create their password. Once that's done, they'll have access to Shotgun and everything's ready to go. The asset list, this will come later on in the demo. This is when things are a little bit more fleshed out and we're ready to start asset work. So pre-production would have been done. So I'll get back to the asset list. So again, all the production files are going to live here. So now let's go to Shotgun. So this is a basic project. This is how all the projects are going to start. They're built from a template, and this template is pretty bare bones. So the only thing you'll probably see at the beginning is probably the team. So that's everybody who was on the spreadsheet will show up here. Hopefully they'll go ahead and be proactive and put thumbnails. Just makes it easier to identify over time. And if it's their actual pictures, it might be even better. So, core concepts about what Shotgun is tracking. So, for a film project, it's really just tracking four entity types. So, it's film, sequence, shot, and asset. So, you can view these as just broad groups that are going to have a lot of associated tasks. Once you wrap your head around that, it gets pretty easy. So we can see these broad groupings inside of Shotgun right here: films, sequences, shots, and assets. Uh, project details is a summary. Review and versions we'll look at closer further on in the demo once we actually start building some mock assets. So let's go to films. So everything here you'll see it's plural, but for films you'll only ever really have one film. Uh, the film itself, whenever this gets done, that means that it's fully rendered, it's been color corrected, the sound has been mixed, it's been edited, and it's ready for distribution. That means the film is completely done. So it's going to have three pipeline steps, which is pre-production, which has all of these tasks. So once all of these tasks are done, we can move on to production. And then we have to complete all of these tasks. Once those are done, we can move on to post production. Now, Shotgun doesn't strictly enforce anything. There's flexibility. For example, you can add um, a new task. Let's say, for example, if the template doesn't quite reflect your particular workflow, and it'll accommodate that. And if you need help with that, please let me know. Ideally, the template should cover the things that need to happen. I worked with Mauricio um, to get these tasks articulated. So now let me show you how to make assignments and set start and due dates, etc. So this pattern is going to be repeated over and over and over again because everything has tasks, and every task behaves in the exact same way. Its data is different, but the way you interface with it and what you can do with it is exactly the same. And here's what you can do with it. So let's say we're getting started on the production. So we'll flip the global status of the film to in progress. We're starting work. All right, and then the screenplay is going to go to ready to start. We're going to assign it to, let's say, artist one for this example. And we're going to set a start date of, let's say, today. And let's say we actually want it done today as well. The duration auto calculates. And let's set the reviewer. So the reviewer is the person who's going to get notifications whenever this particular artist sets this task to pending review. So for this demo, I'll just set it to myself. So I will receive a notification, and more importantly, when there's like multiple tasks out there that are pending review, I'll be able to look at my tasks and filter by status to just really focus on what needs reviewing. But this is the essence of a task: the status, the name, the assignee. You could have multiple assignees. That's no big deal. I'll leave it at one for now. Um, and of course, you can modify the start and end dates. So before we get more complicated, let me jump to another view of the tasks related to this film. So if I click on the film itself and I go to the tasks, I can now see the Gantt chart. So this will just it'll help me see everything a little, and it's the exact same data as before, just presented a little bit different. So now I could also maybe group by pipeline step, and then I can also say, just so you see how the Gantt chart works, let's say I had it set due on the 29th. I can actually adjust dates here and slide things around here, and you'll see this is automatically changing. And it'll become more useful when you have more tasks. And then that way you can, at a glance, really see how the production is moving along from, all the way up through December. Of course, you can pull back your view or zoom in a little bit closer if you want to see exactly, how many weeks, etc., or each individual day. So if you ever get disoriented, just come back here and click on films. That'll take you to the major groups or sequences or shots, whatever you're looking for. Just come back here. This is kind of the home navigation area, which will bring you back to familiar, or at least, to something that you can begin to get comfortable with. So that's the general flow for making assignments. So it's pretty straightforward. And at this point, what the artist would do is they would set it to in progress and pending review. Let's see what else. So we covered the essential concepts, which was that we really only have four broad group types. Their main navigational points are over here. How to make assignments, set start and end dates, set a reviewer, set status. One more important thing I almost forgot is how do you communicate? Okay, we have a status, we have an assignment, but how do you actually communicate back and forth regarding the details of this task? The easiest way to do that is just to click on the task name. When you click on the task name, you might end up on a different tab or something, but if you come back to the activity stream, and you can just start typing here. So here I can see, okay, I'm in the demo film 2019 project, and I'm in the screenplay task. Well, actually, here's the project. This is the film entity, and this is the screenplay task. It's assigned to artist one. I'm just going to give them a launching note like, hey, make it awesome. So now here the artist will be able to see this and have whatever, and they can reply, and then we can have a conversation here. Or if we want to start a completely new and unrelated note, we can start it here, like, add this new thing or whatever. So this is where conversation will be happening. And again, if you get disoriented, like, oh, where am I? What's going on? Just come back to films here at the main navigation. Then you're back in something that'll hopefully become more and more familiar. Um, and then anybody that wants to look at the communication stream for that particular thing, we can just click screenplay and okay, here's the thread. It was written by Mauricio at this time. Um, so those are all the essential concepts. Uh, this pattern of what you're doing with tasks, assignments, communicating, statuses, start and end dates, reviewers, is just rinse and repeat for all tasks. And basically what Shotgun is a bunch of tasks. So once you get this basic pattern down, that's all we're going to be doing over and over again. So essential concepts covered, assigning work, setting due dates, that's done. So let's look at creating a sequence in a shot and also creating an asset. So ideally, what will happen is you guys will communicate with me, tell me what sequences and shots you want to create, and then actually we can go to the asset list now. And you've gone into this asset list, you've given all the assets names, descriptions. For types, they can be either character, prop, or environment. And then for templates, if for this example we're working on a 3D film, so it would be a 3D film asset. It could also be a 2D film or a game asset. So let's say it was a game asset, and let's say we have a couple characters. So we'll just drag that down. Let's pretend one is dog and a dog, and then car and a car. Hopefully you'll be more descriptive, but that's the general idea. This is the asset name, description, the type, and the test template. It's really important to use these drop-down menus because it has to be written exactly like this for the bulk importing to work. So once this is all populated, I literally just copy and bring this over to Shotgun, and I would go over to the assets, Oh, here I already have demo. Let me just delete this, make sure the folders are released in case there were any. Okay, there weren't. Good. So let me delete this so you can see it starting from scratch. So here we have no assets, but you've given me an asset list. So I'll come over, grab this asset list, go over to Shotgun, right click, import. Um, and then I just paste, and it's going to, oh, I misspelled description, so I could map it. So here I can actually map what column from my paste goes to what column within Shotgun. So these are all the Shotgun columns I can map to. But anyway, so I just copy paste, and then I say continue. Everything looks good. It's going to make character assets using the 3D film templates, and this is what they're called. For two assets, it's not that great, but when you have 50, it's like, oh, thank God this exists. So then we finish import, and then we'll go back to the page. So I'll be handling this in general. But if you're ever curious how it happens, or maybe if you want to be brave and take a shot, feel free. We can always help fix things if things go off the rails for whatever reason. So that's how you do the bulk creation of an asset. So let's give these guys a couple. I forgot what I clicked. I think it was the top one. Give them a couple icons. So you'll probably pull this from your design documents, and it's just a lot easier to start seeing things. It quickly becomes more visual once you start getting icons. I'm going to refresh because sometimes it takes it a little while for these to populate. Anyway, I'll continue. So that's how you would create assets. If you're creating sequences and shots, again, it'd be great if you just shoot me an email, hey, I need these sequences and shots, and I can do it for you. Or if you're comfortable, you can do it yourself. It's pretty straightforward. It's just very important to remember the templates. So I've created these three here, so I'm just going to show you how I created them. These I did manually. You could also use a spreadsheet, but there's usually not too many sequences and shots, or less than assets anyway. So I just give the sequence a name. So let's call this one run, for example. Give it a description. Maybe chase would be a better one. Okay, so dog running after car. Here's the important part. We have to put the template, otherwise it won't auto-create the tasks, and we would have to do them manually, and we lose uniformity. So this will be a film sequence, and then we go ahead and create. So it's created a sequence for us, and we see that there are no shots associated to this sequence. It's because we would have to create it. So in order to create a shot, well, let me just stay here on sequence for another second. So here you're going to see the same pattern. This is the global status of the sequence. So when this sequence gets finalized, that means that all the animation, like all the shots, have had their animation, their lighting, their rendering, their post processing. Everything is completed. And these are the tasks. So that would mean that all the shot animation, all the shot setup. Well, shot setup would come first, obviously. All the sound mixes, all the animation, all the caching, and all the lighting is done. So that's the production work. And of course, it'll be the same pattern: status, name, assignee, start, end, reviewer, and you would click on it to look at the communication regarding this particular task. And then for post-production, just are the final renders done, and is compositing done. So when all of these tasks are done, the global status for the shot goes to final, and this whole sequence is going to be ingested by editorial for the final cut. So that's a sequence. Now let's look at shots. So again, we come back up here to our main navigation. So we look at shots, and it's again the same story. You can shoot me an email with what shots for what sequences you want, or you can make them yourself here. Um, I could also help you make them with a spreadsheet if that's more comfortable. So we can go to shot. Let's make this the first shot, um, and it's a 3D shot. And let's set it for the chase sequence. So this will auto detect as long as you're spelling things correctly. Make sure the project is here. It should auto populate. We create. And there it is, our shot for the chase sequence. And again, it's got its global status. So let's say, this one's ready to start. And then it has its pipeline steps of setup, blocking, polish, caching, lighting, com- uh, compositing, and sound. So once all of these are done, this shot is done. And then, for example, when all of these shots inside of the intro sequence are done, then the intro sequence is done. And once all the sequences are done, then the film is done. So that's how the tracking will happen. So that's creating sequences and shots, and also creating assets. So now let's flip over to the artist perspective. So let's go over, I'm still a manager right now, and I'm going to say, you know what, this dog is ready to start. Actually, the status, let's say it's in progress. We'll set the design ready to start, and we'll assign it to artist 1. And we'll set the start date to today, and we want the design. Sometimes it'll auto populate based on uh, templated estimates of how long work will take, but you can change it to whatever you like, and it'll auto adjust. So let's say we want it done today. We want really crappy designs. We want them fast. All right. So here's the so we expect a 1 day turnaround for this. It's been assigned to the artist. Let's do something that'll work in Maya as well. So here, let's assign this to artist 2. There, our modeler. We'll say you're going to start once the design is done, which is expected to be tomorrow, and you'll also have 1 day to get the model done. It would be the same story with the rig and with the textures. I'm just going to do these two so that the example doesn't drag on any longer than it needs to. So from the artist perspective, let me go ahead and first of all sign out and then sign in as an artist. Okay, so now it's asking me to create a password because I had automatically created. Let me just okay, and then we agree to the terms and services, of course. Okay, so this is for my first login. It's going to have a bunch of stuff, so I'm just going to skip this. And now you'll see it has my icon here. I have a very limited view. I could only see exactly what's on my project. If you want to change it to the light view again, you can just click here. This will toggle like night mode and day mode. So if I go to my tasks, I should be able to see what's assigned to me. So I have the screenplay that's assigned to me, and I also have the concept that's assigned to me. So if I go over to the concept, and here what I notice is I'm missing that familiar navigation of film sequence shots and all that. So if I want to get there, I can just go to project, and just go to my actual project. So my tasks is kind of like a different view, which is just focused on tasks. But if I go to the project by clicking here, it'll put me back onto this, so I can actually see everything that's happening uh, on the uh, on the production as well. So I know I'm working on assets, so I can look at it over here, and then I can see. So here I would see them all, but if I go to my tasks, I'll just see the one I'm currently working on. So let's say I'm going to work on a design. So I come in here. I know it's assigned to me. I got to get it done quick. I got 1 day. So I'll set it to in progress. And then what I'll want to do is probably work in Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I need to. Now, here's an important part. This is where we start doing the integrated uh, software and hardware. So, excuse me, not software and hardware, but the integrated software with Shotgun. So, the important thing that I need to do as an artist, I'm going to exit Shotgun. So, when I'm just getting started, I need to start Shotgun Desktop. Shotgun Desktop is the thing that allows Photoshop and Maya and the Shotgun publishing application to talk to the Shotgun site. So I'm going to double click it, and then I'm going to have to log in. So it remembered who I was last time. So um, let me see if I can change this. Okay, so I'm going to sign out. And you saw how that views had all those projects, but now I'm just going to change this to artist one, and I should have a much more limited view.